In the 5th grade, I was asked to do a report on my favorite founding father. Who'd you pick? I picked Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's. It's a fascinating tale. You see, Dave Thomas was never born. He was hatched from an egg laid by the great goose of Winchester. That's that big goose that the royal family worships. Well, the Queen of England was so jealous of Dave because he had this beautiful crimson hair that she locked him in a cage and said, "No one will ever see your beautiful hair." So Dave spent his entire childhood locked in this cage until one day a squirrel came to visit. And the squirrel said to Dave, "Hey Dave, I'm not a squirrel, though I may look it. I'm a sorcerer, here to rescue you, take you to America where you'll find great fame and fortune." Dave says, "Good, that sounds fine." Squirrel said, "Not so fast. In exchange, you must give me your crimson hair." Dave says, "I love my crimson hair." Squirrel says, "Don't worry, I'm just borrowing it. I'll give it back when the time is right." So Dave gives the squirrel his crimson hair. He's let out of the cage and sent on a ship to America. So now Dave, a young man with gray, squirrely hair, is living on the streets of New York City without a dime to his name. And he's thinking, how am I going to make great fame and fortune? I don't know anything. I lived my whole life in a cage. But then he remembered. When he was in the cage, he would always come up with these erotic tales to pass the time. So he starts writing them down and selling them on the streets of New York City. And people are reading this stuff and thinking, oh my God, this is hot. This is some sexy smut. And Dave Thomas becomes the #1 erotic fiction author in all of America. He's so successful that the FBI comes to visit and they say, "Hey, Dave Thomas, these sexy little stories you're writing are so hot, they're turning people into communists." Dave says, "I don't think that's how people become communists." They say, "Well, we don't know. We think it maybe was the movies, and now we think it's erotic fiction, so you better come with us and name names." Dave Thomas says, "I can't name names. I don't know anybody." And they grab him and throw him into a van, and they're taking him off somewhere to torture him. And he's thinking, how am I going to get out of this? So he starts telling this story, and it's so hot, so erotic. It's turning on the FBI agents so hard that it does, in fact, turn them into communists. And they let him out. And they say, "Thanks for the hot tale, comrade," and send him on his way. And then, of course, Dave Thomas takes the money he earned from the erotic fiction, opens up a burger restaurant, names it after his daughter, who had beautiful crimson hair. The squirrel had returned it to him, but not in the way he had thought.